It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That, of course, is Night Ranger with You Can Still Rock in America. And we want to thank Ken's friend there, Todd Confessor, for being a part of the show. And, Ken, I'm just not having any luck with your other two friends.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
I've called your friend Dan on both of his lines and get voicemail on both of them, and I just can't get through to your friend Kevin Walsh. Every time I call, it says the lines are busy.
Wow, I'm sorry about that.
I don't know what to tell you, Ken. I thought this was going to happen, but I'm holding you personally responsible.
Oh, I'll take the hit.
I know Batty. I've been messaging back and forth with Batty Walsh, and he's around. So let me try this. I'm actually putting money on my little Skype account here, and I'm going to try and call him myself here.
Does he have a number, Chris?
Do I, or does he?
Does he have a number? Just hit me up with the number, and I'll try to dial it.
I threw it to you, but I'm thinking that your phone service isn't letting you do the international for some reason.
No. It's going through. It just keeps saying that the numbers are the lines are busy.
Put 011 in front of that 44.
All right, I'll do that. Let me try it right now.
All right.
011.
And then 44, and then the rest.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Success.
Is this Kevin?
It is, and I'm listening to you all pull your hair out, trying to get through to me on my landline and on this line. And go, hi Ken, I've been listening to you.
Hey, Bat, what's going on, brother? We're technology's a little beyond us right now. I guess we don't do country codes.
It's the country code. Now what I'm listening to now. Hang on a sec, guys. I've got you on. I've had you online all night now. I'm just listening to myself, and I'll just turn myself down.
Don't start masturbating listening to yourself, Bat.
Yeah, it's just like that. Where's the speaker thing on here?
Yeah, what's going on over there?
Here we go. We got it all going on here now. We're all right. Turn that off. There you go. That's it. How you going anyway, guys? Ken, we're there. That's it.
Good to hear you, brother. It's been a long time.
And you too, Ken. And Todd as well. Remember, shall I tell them how I first met Todd, or should we better not do that one?
Well, I think that's probably a good idea, being that you're over there in the UK and these guys are, across the pond, as it were.
Across the old pondage. I met Todd. I think he was working for Danger, wasn't he, Ken? And yep. They come on tour with Alice, and Ken says, this is my buddy Todd, and this guy I've never met before walks up to me. He goes, "Yeah, how you doing? I'm Todd," and he's got one of his balls out. He lies it on a flight case and hits it with an adjustable wrench.
Wait! You're mixing him up with Howie. That's not Todd.
Howie. That's Howie. Well, I've just got.
Tell the story anyway. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah, he hit it with a wrench, and I just threw up. You can't just pull a knacker out and hit it with a wrench on the side of a flight case. Go, hey, look, check this out. And then we find out he's had one of his knackers removed, and he's got a Teflon one in there. Oh, great! What a way to make friends and influence people. Yeah, he would put a vice grip on it, and you'd see it dangling from his sack. It was not a guy on the world could fucking stand up looking at that.
Ouch.
You should have got him on. Wow, man. Oof. Ooh.
Yeah.
But
and then he knocked it loose. Remember, Bat? And he had to go get it restitched back in place.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good way to start. You started off on a high note, Bat. You better keep it going.
Yeah. Where do we go from here?
Straight to the gutter.
Straight down in the gutter. Well, I was surprised, Ken, when I read your book there when it came out there, and I was surprised that we never actually crossed paths on those early days, because we were doing the same kind of venues, and it's just unbelievable. The first time I was in America, the very first gig in America was 2 nights at Radio City. With Men at Work and Haircut 100, and then the next, the Ritz Ballroom. Remember that one, Ken? The Ritz.
Oh
Oh, yeah, it's up all them stairs. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, they can carry everything up.
Yeah, from one of the best gigs in the town to one of the... Yeah, we do go back a bit. I'm surprised we never crossed paths earlier in our careers. Probably because we were both drinking in different bars or something like that.
Probably. We were too drunk to notice. That was all.
Yeah, blue whales.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned you toured with Men at Work, and Men at Work. They had a lot of big success with their debut release way back in 1982, and then they followed it up with Cargo. I think was at like 83 or 84, and then they just sort of went to the wayside because people didn't look at them as being a real band for whatever reason. They had, several mega radio hits during that time. What was your, impression of the band Men at Work?
The funny thing was, I'd seen them in over here in Birmingham at Birmingham Odeon about 3 weeks before. I just went in as a punter, bought a ticket, went soon because I liked the songs. And 3 weeks later, I was offered this gig with British pop band Haircut 100, and I was watching them then 3 weeks later and on tour with them, doing tours around America. We Men at Work. It was great. I mean, they were good guys, all excellent musicians, and you kind of got the impression they might just do a few albums and get out and take the money and go. And I think they still play today, or they've all got studios down in Australia. But they were just a good band, and the band I was with was just a British pop band, and I got out of that and got into some serious music. I got a call one night, literally sat at home waiting for a tour. I used to do a lot of bands around, like Kenny, on this side of the pond. I used to tour with bands in Birmingham and go around the country with them and play all these clubs and shitholes and everything like that. And I got a call one night from, I keep wanting to say it was Steve Botting, Kenny, but I don't think I knew him then. I got a call. Somebody needed, I thought they were playing me up, somebody needed a guitar tech for Alice Cooper. I'm like, yeah, okay.
It was Botting because he did assistant production manager on that first leg.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? That's right. Raise your fist, and that's right. That's.
And then he fucked off and went and did something else when we did the Canada leg.
That's right. Yeah, it was him. Then the call. I'm sat at home. You need to be in Paris tonight. Yeah, okay. Right, yeah. We've got you a ticket from Birmingham Airport, and I fly out to Paris, and the show's on that night, and I've got to wear this mask and dress in a costume, and you're working for Kane. Well, I was working for the whole band except the drummer. I did the guitars, keyboards, and everything. Kenny will know this kind of thing. And Kane Roberts had this guitar that was like a machine gun with a big flamethrower at the end, and anytime you did a guitar change, you had to put this rubber mask on and go out and change it and come back off. And like Todd was saying there earlier, the guys in the dark room, it was about 3 weeks before Alice came up to me and said, "Who are you? You've been around a lot." I said, "I'm the guy in the mask that comes on and off and frightens you every night." "Oh, I didn't realise. I hadn't seen you for a while." "Well, I've got this mask on every time you meet me." And that was the start of that. He was like thrown into it, get off the plane, go to the gig, and there's Alice. Yeah, great. Here's what you're doing. Everything on stage. And that Kenny is where I met John Chizzuli and Timmy Gallup. And
the Glimmer Trio were born.
Oh, God, man. Just, you're doing this, and that's it. That was not a frightening way to it. It was kind of get your adrenaline going, and you just have to do it. And you meet the band, and that night, you get off your plane, and they're going on stage, and you don't know anybody. And then you walk into the likes of John Chizzuli and Tim and Putter, and you just ride at home.
That's how I started with the Coop, because I missed Europe because I was still in Australia. And I came up to Canada, and I flew in and did the first show exactly the same way. You're just kind of thrown into it, hope it all works out.
Oh, God, and that's the way. But you see, you could get, you know this, Ken, you could get thrown into things with some crews and they wouldn't give a shit about you and just go, yeah, well. And you could get thrown into a crew that's a bunch of Americans and you're the only limey, and you could really get the shit kicked out of you and no one could give a fuck about you. But all you guys, I think that's why we're all still so close with each other on Facebook and all the rest of it, because of the way we're accepted into that gig. It's a tough gig, Coop is. I mean, it was a family.
And yeah, you're right, because
yeah.
when you work for the Coop, you're in the show. You're going to play a monster, or Timmy Gallup's playing the fucking spider, or whatever.
Yeah.
The gang is beating up the band. I mean, whatever the fuck it is, you're involved at so much extra of a level.
Yeah, you're not just drums or whatever. You just one of the things. Oh, by the way, you got to wear this mask, put this coat on, and you're involved in the show. Oh, right. What have I got to do? Walk across the stage with a limp and pass the guitar. And then me and you, Kenny, and a few of the other guys, we end up fighting the Coop and the band on stage.
Yep.
In
Cats versus the Jets, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
the West Side Story fight scene. That was fucking awesome. Remember that time when Reb and I would always bump chest to chest because we didn't really like each other? Reb Beach is who we were talking about. And he flipped his guitar around, the fucker went flying off, and he had to go chase me.
Yeah.
The thing was, if you were in a bit, the bit came first, the band gear came second. The guys had to go fuck off and take care of their own shit. It was funny as hell. Off goes his guitar. Well, fuck him.
that was it. That was it. Basically, the show come first, and Coop always liked his crew guys, but he loves his bands, and he does have some great musicians. I mean, Reb was in there, but he does have great musicians who. I don't know where he finds these guys, but you got that particular. We did a couple of tours, didn't we, Ken, with T-Bone on bass, Pete Friesen on guitar, Al Petrelli, Derek Sherinian, and Eric Singer, and man, that to me is still a killer band. Those guys just blew it away every night.
Band. That was a good tour. That's the one I was talking about earlier, where we all hung out. Gig days, days off. It was like a big gang. Just wherever we went, we owned the place.
Sure.
Oh yeah, everywhere, and even the kitchens in some of the hotels. I mean, in Chicago, where onion on toast was it?
Yeah.
And you bought a connecting door.
He's talking about a night in Chicago where we all got way hammered off the leash. And Batty, Kevin, broke into the kitchen to make himself a cheese and onion sandwich on toast. And the security found that he's only wearing his jeans, no shirt, no shoes. And I kicked in the door adjoining to the drum tech because I don't even remember why. And I had to pay $200 for the door. So the next day, the tour manager gets a copy of the security report from the hotel because he's going to show the Coop and get us all in trouble. Well, he shows the Coop. The Coop has done it all. As long as you pay for damages and nobody got hurt. Coop looked at it and started laughing, going, "Yep, that's my boys."
I love my crew. We've been out. Was it the Pump Room? I think that rings a bell there in Chicago. I don't know, but we had a few Guinness. I like the Guinness, and I was hungry afterwards. It was currently been 2 a.m. It was early yet, and I get hungry, and I went down into the kitchens of this Days Inn, and all I could find was a box of tea, and I hadn't had tea for weeks because I was over in America, and I thought, I'll have a cup of tea, and a loaf of bread and a red onion, and I thought, onion on toast, then a cup of tea, 2 a.m, that's great. And some security guy walked in and said, "Hey, can you smell burning?" And I went, "Oh shit, me toast." And he went out again and come back in and went, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm Batty, I'm making onion on toast and a cup of tea, would you like some? I can't find any food. It appears to be all locked away." And he helped me back to he said, "Well, you're not supposed to be in here, buddy." I said, "Well, you're not. You're supposed to be trolling or something." And you'd be okay, be all right. I got the big butcher's knife in my hand. I think he might have been worried about that. But I put him down and got a cup out, made a tea for him. And we started chatting. And what are you with Alice Cooper? And I'm just been out. And let me take you back to your room. I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." And here, take this box of tea with you. You English drink a lot of tea. And I said, "No, I'm all right. Take the tea. Put me back in my room," and then wrote up this night's events. And it's still there, Kenny. It's on Facebook. I know you've seen a copy of it. And we need to watch these guys.
It's on my page.
Yeah, we need to watch these guys. They're from the Alice Cooper band. They could be trouble. And Coop's like, "I love my guys. We didn't hurt anyone. No TVs went out the window. Just Kenny paid for the door. How much checking out?" He said, "How much for a door?" The woman, "What? How much is a door?" "Well, here's a couple $100 anyway. There's one broken in my room." There you go. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think we touched on that story yet before, guys. My destructive period.
You've been holding out on us, Ken.
Well, I knew Batty would give it justice, so I figured we'd wait for him. Yeah, actually, I called the next day realizing what I'd done, and so I called the front desk, and I said, well, how much is a door? And they said, what on earth are you talking about? I said, a fucking door. How much do you have, like, a price list down there? Because I'm going to pay for it. And they go, we've got no record of a broken door. I said, no, I just kicked the motherfucker in. There is no report. Can I fucking pay for it? So
I'll go to
sent security up to my room. They sent the maintenance guys up to my room. They called the police. Well, they opened my door, which was intact because there was 2 adjoining doors and the one to the drum roadies. So they all go in there, and I slam my door behind them and go back to bed, and the drum roadie wakes up with like 6 strange men in his room, and they're angry. Just another night on the LSD
hanging out
tour.
where the door should be, and bits of door on his floor. Well, what the fuck happened there? Yeah, Kenny happened there. He knows there's he's got a record of a broken door. He's got a bad toe and a big splinter in his. Yeah. And the blue whales. That was Ken. The night of the blue whales. Oh dear.
Yeah. What town were the blue whales in? I can't even. Was it like Missouri or something?
It was some kind of cocktail that we liked. Blue. And every time
we were in a bar and they had a drink called
the
Blue Whale that was an ass kicker, and it came with a toy fucking blue whale that was like 10 inches long and sitting on the glass.
We went home with a whole school of whales, didn't we, Ken?
Well, we had like a dozen each, and I think I gave it to all my nieces and nephews for Christmas that year. I know the next day was not a fun one. That was like 3 throw-ups before load-in day.
It was. I don't remember much about it. I remember walking home with all these blue whales. Kenny, what we're going to do? We've got our own school here. School of blue whales. Kept appearing all over the stage. Coop's like, there's whales on the stage. What are the whales? Don't know anything about them. Don't know anybody from Wales. I know people from Scotland. Wales, Coop, what are you on about? Did you drink last night? Yeah, just a bit, yeah. I can tell. Good. Somebody's got to. I can't. Oh, I'm drinking for you then.
Oh, that's right. He did say that. Somebody's got to do it. I can't anymore.
Yeah, I can't do it. I love my guys. Yes, Coop, I'll see you later and give your ass a good kick and then gutter cats. Yes, old chap. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Batty, just because, with you being outside the U.S., a lot of these tours, especially with the American artists, they start here in the U.S. Would you get a call to come to the U.S. to be on those tours, or would you meet up with the tours when they went over to England or Europe, or how does that work?
Well, it depended really. With the Coop, the first one I did there, the Raise Your Fist and Yell, I got the call and I went that evening not knowing anybody. And the other guy was so bad, they gave me his tour jacket when I got there. But what sometimes would happen was to save money and things, an American band, some British crew, but then they've got to know that guitar tech, or they've got to have some sort of connection. Somebody says, we'll get Batty, he's over there, he does good guitars, he can do all the keyboard, you're fine. And they'll try and, quite right, save money and use a guy over this side of the pond, same as a British band might use an American crew, but I'm not big-headed or anything, but I just got on with everybody and I did my job. And once I'd done that first gig with Coop, the Europe part of Raise Your Fist and Yell, I got called back then for the next 9 years. And I was probably, Ken, I think possibly the only English guy that was on the crew on those tours, apart from Steve Bottom maybe and a couple of lighting guys. But it depends. If a band likes to get a good crew and stick with that crew, I mean, Iron Maiden have got 2 American guys, and the rest of the crew is basically English. But they'll take those 2 guys. Michael Kenny, who's the bass tech for Steve, and he plays keyboards, and up until recently, Doug Hall, who was the out-front sound guys. They were both American. The rest of that crew is English, and they'll take both English and American all around the world with them. And the only American crew that would be over there in America would possibly be some local lighting crew. But it's the same in reverse, although I worked with Metallica and most of their crew came from Birmingham as well in the early days. I think a lot of it depends on how good you are at the job and
to that family, because you're all going to be thrown together for a few months, and every night you're going to be sleeping on a 45-foot long baked bean tin, and you need to be getting on with people, and you don't always get on with people, and you'll have your days when I don't remember much. Might have had days when we fell out. I can't really, nothing springs to mind. Just you have to live together. It depends on the bands. Some will stick with the crew they've got, and some will get people on this side of the pond who have got perhaps a good reputation or a decent reputation for doing a decent job. And a lot of the people I worked for, apart from guys in Alice's band, they were difficult to work for. I got a bit of a reputation for working with difficult guitarists and getting on great with them. Chris Cornell was a real problem when I worked for him, but after 5 minutes he was fine, because he had one problem that cost $7 to put right, and I had a great tour with him, and he was a great friend and a good guy to work for. I got a call for that to come out to Seattle. Chris had never heard of Soundgarden, 1990, and this guy is still over there. Kevin is from Birmingham. He does production out in America now. He said, I've got a guitar player who keeps breaking Les Pauls every night. I said, you can't break Les Pauls. He said, he does. He's going on stage every night, and they're supporting Guns N' Roses, and the first chord he hits on his guitar, nothing comes out. And I said, what radio system has he got? Instantly. And he said, Samson's. I said, well, I can fix that, and it'll cost less than $10. And I'd fly over with Kev's there. I'll meet Chris, and he looks a real kind of down in the dumps kind of guy, and this is your new tech, and he's looking at me thinking, another tech, works for Iron Maiden. Yeah, great, okay. What? And the first thing I said to him is, hi, I'm Batty, have you got $10? And he looks at Kevin and he's thinking, I've only just met him and he wants money. I said, give me $10, I'll give you $3 change tomorrow, and you won't have a problem for the rest of the tour. And he's looking at Kevin quizzically thinking, who the fuck, is he fucking mad? The next day I went to Radio Shack, Kenny, and I bought 9-volt battery clips, proper physical clips. You remember the radio packs in Samson's? I got them 2 little slithers of metal. When you jump up and down and run around with your guitar,
up, yeah, they fucking suck.
It shorts out. So you take them out and put a proper battery clip in. Did the whole band the next day in the rehearsal room before they got in. He came in. Here's your $3 change. He bought me a fucking lunatic here. Have a good show tonight, won't you? He walks on stage, hits his first chord, looks over to the wings, smiles, and Kevin, the production manager, says, we never knew he had teeth. He never fucking smiles. Have you fixed that problem? I went, the tour will be fine now. And he had a great tour, great band, no more problems with the radios, and it cost $7. And that boosts your reputation a bit, and people, your name goes down the line, and they take you to America, which is great. It varies with different bands. I've had English bands that, the Verve, I got called to do Richard Ashcroft, and he wanted his guitar tech, who was American, and they had to get Concorde to fly him over to do the gig, and he said, it's nothing against you, I know about you and your reputation. Said to the production manager, pay him a week's wages. I've been there 2 days. He said, watch the show if you like, but I want my tech from America. And I said, I totally understand. Got another pro. So there's an English band who've got an American guitar tech that they're comfortable with. I've been called in to set things up, and the guy's gone, it's nothing against you, but I've got my tech. And it's the same with Iron Maiden. I worked with them for 11 years for Janick, and nobody could work with Janick. I could work with him, and it was hard to fill in if I ever had to go off and do Coop, because I did Coop for 11 years and Maiden for 11 years, and it was off Coop, onto Maiden, off Maiden, onto Coop. And at the start of one Coop tour, I think Hey Stupid, I think it was, Ken, we started in Hollywood, and Dan got a phone call from Iron Maiden's production saying, can we borrow Batty for the weekend? We've got a gig in Roskilde in Finland, a festival. And we just started production rehearsals, and Dan asked me, and I said, well, you better ask the boss, see if Coop can do without me for 3 days. And Alice has gone, yeah, great, 3 days, you're going to do it? I said, well, if you let me. Yeah, do it, I've never done that. Leave Los Angeles, fly to London, fly to Finland, do a gig, fly back to London, fly back to Los Angeles. And Coop says, when do you think you'll be back? I said, 7:30 Sunday evening. So I get into the rehearsal studios at 7 o'clock, there's not a soul in there.
and they've all gone out for food, and I'm lying on the drum riser jet lagged, and they walk in, and I look at my watch at 7:20, and I'm like, where have you all been? I've been here since 7 o'clock. I've been halfway around the world, and you've disappeared on me. And Iron Maiden paid me a week's wages for one gig just to look after Janick, because they couldn't find anyone else to take care of him. And a nice guy, just not difficult to work for, but he wants you to watch him all the time, and you need to, because he runs around the stage like a maniac and breaks guitars. And you have to get into the groove with them, I suppose, or get in their bubble. And Coop's guys are a little bit different. I think Ken would agree that a lot of those guys, I don't know where Coop finds them, but they're really, really pleased and chuffed to get a job with Alice Cooper, because they can probably play with anybody they like then after that, once you've been in Coop's band. But, you know, it's being this side of, like people used to say to me, you've got to move to London or you'll get no work. Well, I've never lived in London. I've lived in Birmingham, but I've always got work around the country and around the world, and a lot of the bands are from. I've worked for Slayer, I've worked for Metallica, they're American, and I get gigs with them, and I've toured with them. Got the English ones like Tony Iommi as well, and that. But I think it's a reputation you build up, and there's some good crews come from Birmingham. There's a lot of good crew here in Birmingham, and not many of us leave to go and live elsewhere. You know, I don't know where in America I'd like to. Probably I'd live somewhere where Kenny is, because I'd have a drinking partner then. So.
Well, absolutely. Anytime you're ready, brother.
well, Batty, I got to ask you. You know, some of the Iron Maiden hardcores are very critical of Janick Gers being a part of the Iron Maiden lineup. Since you've worked with him personally, what does he bring to the table as far as the live performance is concerned?
When he came into Maiden, when Adrian left, I joined Maiden, and he was tough work for after a couple of weeks. I left and said, "This guy, you're mad, man." And he had some of the best techs that I know, that we were put back together, put in a room together, and we came out with no black eyes, and we got on. But his thing was he had some big shoes to fill when Adrian left, and Janick's a different kind of player. If you put Janick on a stage with nothing else on that stage, he'll put on a show for you. He's a showman on his own, and he puts 100% into every show, every night. And when you first see him, you think, Jesus, look at this guy. The other guys are quite happily trotting across the stage to each other and doing and he's running around like a Tasmanian devil. But he puts a show on. And when Adrian came back in the band, there were a lot of us going, wow, how's this going to work? And it works. It works just fine. You know, it's great, man. 3 guitars. Is
his guitar plugged in?
Oh, all the time. He won't use a radio, and most of the time it's plugged in, except when he's throwing it up in the air or he's falling off a stage or something, and then when he's throwing it around his neck and things. He uses a radio for one song sometimes. They all use cables in Maiden because they like the sound, apart from Steve, who uses radio. But you do his effects for him as well. If you work for Janick and it's a 2-hour Maiden show, it goes extremely quick because he's got a rack of effects that you have to do, simply because he doesn't want to be tied down to go into a foot switch up by the microphone every few seconds. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to put this show on, and if you've seen him, he's just a maniac. He sweats like buckets, and he won't be tied down. The problem comes when you've got 2 guitars and they're both on cables. You have to change them you have to have one guitar for the left hand and one for the right, because if you change them all with your right hand, the cables get twisted together, and they end up from being 60 feet long to about 6 inches long. So it's a busy show working for Janick, which never bothered me because it went really quick, and there were points in that show where it calmed down and there'd be a slower song, and you could have a laugh and play about with him. But he brings another dimension to that band. I mean, from the very first time he was in it, it's like, what? And the people looking at him going, Jesus, this guy's nuts. But he knows what he's doing, and when something. If the thing with Janick was if something didn't work and it went quiet and the amps stopped working,
and he looked over at you, and you were panicking, he'd start to panic. And if all the power went off and I'd look over at him and hold my hands out and go, I ain't got a clue, he wouldn't panic. He'd know the power had gone off and then it's time for Nico to do a half an hour drum solo or something. Just, in a way, it was good to work for because it teaches you not to panic. If a band member sees you panicking because they've got a problem, then it doubles. They start panicking some more, and then you start panicking a bit more because he's panicking more, and then it just all goes out of control. Sure. He looks over at you and you're calm and you're going, yeah, know what it is, don't panic. And then they'll calm down, let you sort it out and carry on. I think Kenny might agree with that. It's keeping yourself together. Inside you might be thinking, holy shit, what's this? Don't let it show on the outside, you know.
It's the longest 30 seconds of your life trying to figure out why that fucking amp ain't working.
Right.
Oh, God, yeah, it feels like months, doesn't it, Ken?
Yeah.
And one night where you don't want amps to blow up for Iron Maiden anywhere, but Wembley, all of Janick's amps blew up all at once at Wembley. He had Marshall heads, he had fans fitted in the ends of his amps thinking it'd keep them nice and cool. Well, you don't really want valves to go cool, you want them to be hot. But Maiden used a lot of dry ice, smoke. And throughout the tour, the fans are dragging in this smoke, which is oil-based, which shorted out all the valves. Well, where else are they going to short out and blow up? They're going to blow up at Wembley. Nowhere else, not Stockholm or, it's going to be Wembley. And they blew up. Nico started a drum solo. The manager's at the side of the stage pulling his hair out, and the Almighty were our support band. And they just came up with all their amps. Oh. Yeah, and they put all their amps up, and Pete Friesen, I think, was even playing for them then as well. So they got their amps out, put their amps up, and we carried on. Janick played through their amps for the rest of the night. It was about a 20-minute stoppage in the set. That's awesome. Lots of people putting their hair out, And then there again, you see, that's that family thing. It's like the Almighty could have been gone. They could have packed up the gear and just left.
The Almighty guys were like our brothers when they were out with us with the Coupe. Those guys were fucking awesome. Yeah, I spent more time on their bus than mine.
Yeah. Great guys, and now we got Rick Warwick with his new band with Scott Gore.
Black Star Riders.
Yeah. They were an awesome bunch, and unfortunately, Ken, that Bomber passed away last week. That was
I heard. What did he pass away from?
Just suddenly in his sleep. So we're just thinking he was due to go out to Australia with Priest. But,
for anybody that doesn't know it, Paul Jackson, he, an old road guy, we met him with the Almighty, who passed away last week. He's a tragic, wonderful human being, great guy, great road brother.
Yeah, half as big as Scotland, that fella.
It's a good guy.
That whole band and crew. You see, when people come onto band, you probably found this, Kenny. I know I did. When you did support in the earlier days, and that you get treated like shit by a lot of bands. They go, you set your gear up in this 6-inch space here. You get fuck all from us, and you get your gear up. Well, I never wanted to be like that. No, you didn't. I always thought when I go up the ladder, I'm going to give everybody. I mean, people used to. There's my toolbox. Use it. Just put things away when you finish and put them there. You can use that toolbox. Don't bother bringing yours up. Use that. And me and Kenny were very much like people who come on tour thinking, where can we set up our gear? Well, you can set up where the fuck you like with it. Yeah, use it, carry on, and treat them with respect. And that brought the whole thing together, didn't it? Especially with the Almighty and all. Anybody that supported with Coop, it was use what you want. They never got a hard time. They always got everything they wanted. And I know I didn't know you did.
Day one with the Almighty. Those guys were just fucking awesome. We spent more time hanging out with them on days off too,
Yeah, and that was
Ricky taught me how to steal beer in Germany too. I remember that. We were in the bar, and the barman would pull like 8 or 10 of them and leave them to settle. And as soon as his back was turned, Ricky grabbed 2 and put them down on the floor. And it was just fucking funny.
Well, Batty, of all the people that you've worked with, through your career, who was your favorite and why?
Yeah, now I knew you'd ask that. Now you know what I've got to say. I haven't got to say it, but I would say it. The Coop put bread on my table for the longest time, but hey, I've been fortunate. I've worked with a lot of bands.
all those guys in Slayer were fantastic guys. I worked for Jason with Metallica, brilliant. Soundgarden, lovely guys, great guys. Pearl Jam, and over here we got Ozzy and Black Sabbath and all. Bad Company, Lynyrd Skynyrd I work for. They're all great, but I suppose and Iron Maiden as well. You know, I mean, these people kept me in jobs. But the Coop, if you pushed me, I'd have to say the Coop, because he's a total. He understands. He gets it. He's done it, and he's a gentleman, and he's a good laugh as well. He's a proper guy, you know. Definitely, I think the Coop would have to come top.
Excellent. I
don't think any of those other bands that I work for would disagree with that, and it's no disrespect or detriment to anybody else that I've worked with. Coop's people. I think I got the job with Iron Maiden because I worked for Alice Cooper, because they're massive Alice Cooper fans. Iron Maiden, huge.
Sure.
And I ended up hooking Nico up and Dave Murray to play golf with Alice when they were in America. And I hooked them up, and Alice just beat them into a pulp with the golf. You know, he thrashed them. But yeah, I mean, it's not just because it's this show, but I get that asked that quite a lot, and I'd have to say Coop. He's a good man.
Sure.
Man. And he understands his crew as well, which is great.
Absolutely. Well, Batty,
doesn't mind you having a drink either. So.
Yeah. Well, Batty, we appreciate you taking some time to talk to us here on the Classic Metal Show. Glad you tuned in and listen to Ken and spinning his tales, and this is something we do pretty frequently. So we'll invite you back again to tell some more stories and whatnot. But I think we're going to wrap this up a little bit. And
well, any time you like, don't worry about the time difference. You give me a call when you can get through. That was pulling my hair out here. The line wasn't busy. It's 2:00 in the morning here. There's no one on the phone line.
Sure.
Here, so, and you haven't paid your bills. Get your bills paid.
Right.
But yeah, I'll be happy to bear me in mind. And it's great to speak to Ken again. And
it's good talking to you, brother. It's been far too long.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, way too long.
Well, Batty, I think probably the most appropriate song to end your segment here with from Alice Cooper would be from The Last Temptation with "Lost in America."
Well, I've been lost in America, and there's another story springs to mind of me going out the hotel door in my room one morning with no clothes on, and they put the newspapers outside, and the door clicked behind me, and I had to go downstairs. With the sports page wrapped around me with a big baseball bat on the front of the sports page, and all the man behind reception said, "Nice bat. You've locked yourself out of your room." It appears I have. And at 8:00 in the morning when everyone's going to work in their suits, there's a whole other story.
Nice.
Right? Lost in America. Fantastic.
All right, Batty, we appreciate you taking some time and talk to us here on the Classic Metal Show. We'll have you back again when we do some more of this Roadie Roundtable stuff. But we'll end this with some Coop, as you put it, with some Lost in America. So, until next time, we will catch up with you again.
Yes, take care, and thanks you guys, and thanks Kenny. Thanks a lot, man. Anytime you like.
All right.
Take care,
take care, Ken. Bye, guys.
All right. Well, here it is. It's Alice Cooper with Lost in America exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.